kicking off today talking about the organic evolution. So this is the perfect place to start, given it's kind of the reason we're all here today talking about what the future is for SEO, because it has been a huge industry conversation of late, with all the different updates and things we've seen over the last kind of year or so. So we wanted to kind of kick off by addressing what is a bit of an elephant in the room. I think this is a question that we've all seen flying around a lot of late, which is SEO dead? There's been a lot of kind of discussion around this because of the updates, the changes that we've seen across search recently. And we are very happy to say that no, the answer is pretty simple. It's not dead. And we're here to talk about it today because actually it's more important than ever as we enter this new era of kind of talking about things like AI and all these new developments in search. So the reason that we are actually so confident in saying this and thinking that search is still going to be around for many more years is because we know this from experience. It's been continually evolving for decades. As you can see along this chart, I'm sure some of you know some of these, might recognize some of the pandas and the penguins, the updates that have happened, many years ago. More recently, things like the helpful content update, which feels like it only just happened, but actually it was a few years ago now. And more recently, we have the core updates that have been happening this year in 2024. The reason that these ones have felt maybe a little bit more impactful than some of the others is because they've actually been kind of front of house. We've seen these changes actually happening on the SERPs, things like AI overviews being introduced, and things that we're actually visibly seeing in our potentially day-to-day lives, as well as in our working lives. Whereas in the past, potentially, it's just kind of being James, like behind the scenes, thinking about these developments and what they mean. Now it's in our faces, and it's causing that little bit more of a stir in the industry, and a little bit more of a conversation. But we know that we need to take stock of the changes. Just because we're used to them doesn't mean we ignore them. As I said, it's actually more important than ever because these are really quite significant changes, but they just shouldn't be scary. They just should be things that we're harnessing, and that's why we're here to talk about them today. Thinking about things such as AI, of course, we wouldn't have a session without talking about AI. Thinking about multi-channel search, thinking about all the new introductions of newer channels, thinking about what that means for ranking signals. How do these change for things like AI and also the multi-channel elements too? And we're also going to touch a little bit on the Google leak that happened earlier this year. Spoiler alert, we're not really doing anything wrong, but we will start touching on these things as we go through. And finally, about a year or so ago, as David mentioned, being able to bring our specialisms together allowed us to kind of take stock of what our approach is in SEO, and we kind of moved towards this search experience optimization approach. And we're actually really proud of this because it really does link very easily to what it is that we're talking about today, which is moving from this kind of nascent space of traditional SEO and pushing through to a more connected space where actually we have multiple channels, multiple optimizations happening across all of these different areas. And we know that this is where that we need to move towards, is the move away from just constantly thinking about Google and search engines as being the only option for SEO. There's so much more out there, and everything is becoming so much more complex. We have much more to focus on nowadays. So we're really pleased that actually everything we were talking about a year ago is now very much in the focus, and right on track.